See a lot of people with foot and ankle pain that's chronic in nature, and many of these clients do have limitations in the range of motion between segments within the foot, but they also have limitations in their force production capacity via the ankle plantar flexors. So when you ask them to do a calf raise, for example, they may only be able to do 1 or 2 calf raises until they struggle, or they may have pain when they do a calf raise. So it doesn't actually give you a clear insight into whether or not they have the ability to do the calf raise, because pain is limiting their ability to do the calf raise. Okay, so then you have a situation where, okay, do I just back off the load and try to gradually increase the amount of force through the ankle plantar flexors? Or is that pain the result maybe of a lack of range of motion within the foot? And so maybe by expanding some of that motion within the foot, I can then spread the force more broadly, which may mean that I can generate force via ankle plantar flexion without as much pain. Because generally when we lose variability and movement options within the foot, it's going to mean that we tend to concentrate more force around the ankle or somewhere within the foot as well, meaning we can have a pain experience. So a lack of variability, again, reduces the space, the options that we have to spread forces. And that is afforded to your movement system by range of motion within joints, between interacting segments, but also in the capacity of muscular tissues to be able to generate forces. And this really reflects those 2 key concepts within biomechanics, or fields of study, areas of study within biomechanics, which is your kinematics and your kinetics. Kinematics represents the position of joints, the position of segments relative to each other and in space, or the movement of segments, the motion of segments. But it doesn't also include, or it doesn't also represent the forces that create that motion. That would be a kinetic understanding. That looks at the forces that move through a system, the external forces. Think of the ground reaction forces that move through the system as a result of the interaction of the foot with the ground, how they move through the system. Those are external forces. They move through the system and they challenge muscular tissues to generate appropriate internal forces via muscular contractions. And so, yes, when external force comes into a system, if we have space within the foot, we have more space to spread that force. But if we don't also have the ability to contract muscular tissues in an effort to handle that external force, to manage that external force, then that range of motion is really no good. Okay, because again, we need both. Okay, so when you see people doing lots of low load, very low intensity foot mobility drills, I always question how long are they going to be able to hold on to that range of motion if they're not coupling that also with ankle plantar flexion in a loaded manner. So what I like to do an awful lot of the time is combine both early on, particularly when I have a client that has limitations in movement at the foot, but also has limitations in generating forces via ankle plantar flexion.